Hi, everybody, and good afternoon. Welcome to our week number 4 live stream for my research methods class. I hope everyone is enjoying this beautiful rainy day that we're having. I was having some issues with the internet and Twitch earlier with my other class. Is everything coming through okay? Can someone give me like a yes or a thumbs up in the chat? It looks like it's all good, but I thought we were good earlier too. So if you can hear me and see me, let me know. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you telling me. So we have a couple of things going on this week. So I want to give you a little bit of feedback about last week and then talk about our first exam, which we have, and make sure that you're feeling as good about that as you can. So let's go ahead and go over to Canvas together and take a look at where we're at. So we're here, week number 4. Hard to believe we're already almost a fourth of the way through the semester. We had a rough start, but now things are kind of falling into the routine, and it's finally February, Super Bowl this weekend. I'm excited about that. Not necessarily the teams in it, but excited for the Super Bowl and the food and everything with it. Excuse me. So a couple of things about last week really quickly. If we go back, first homework assignment was last week. A lot of you got full points on that, which is fantastic. Excuse me, my cats are all inside because it's raining today and like their fur is everywhere. So a lot of you did really well on the homework assignment. I enjoyed the articles that you picked. Great job identifying, thank you. Great job identifying all of the different components of them. The biggest reason that people lost points, really the only reason that people lost points on this one was either not like identifying or labeling the different sections, which a couple of people did, or not uploading the article. So a few people forgot to give me the article, which meant I didn't have anything to reference to make sure everything lined up. Other than that, most of you did a beautiful job. Thank you as well for those of you who filled out the survey. It feels like most of you are feeling pretty good about things so far, which I think is a good spot to be in as we go into our first exam this week. So we'll get there in a moment, but this week we're focusing on APA formatting part 1. There will be 3 different APA formatting weeks. This is the first one. We do have a discussion, we have the exam, and of course the extra credit and the recording of this that you're with me now watching live or maybe watching later as a recording. So for this week, what I have for you is we're looking at APA formatting, and the reading sometimes with these is a little bit different. So what I have for you is I've created a little bit of a lecture rather than you having to read in the book. And so for this one, you have a summary and learning objectives. There's some beyond the book stuff about what is APA, when and why would we use it, introducing the APA style manual. There's a little bit here about when to use sources to avoid plagiarism, when to cite sources and when don't you cite sources. So looking at those topics, I think really important things to be keeping in mind as we start talking about plagiarism and citing sources. And then on the key terms page, right here you have all of the terms you need to know for the first exam. There's a couple of these images that aren't showing up. I have to go back and check that. That's odd. I wonder if they're... sometimes the internet gets a little bit off whenever it rains, of course, because we don't get that much rain. So I'll have to go back and check that later to see what happened. But make sure you read through all of this, explore everything that's in here. I also have a lecture video, as always, on this. So I made a video of me lecturing to some PowerPoint slides, especially this week since you don't really have a lot of reading in a chapter, you just have that lecture that I put together. Make sure that you do watch this and take notes and pay attention and all that kind of stuff. So we're looking mainly this week again at like what is APA formatting, when and why is it used, and how to avoid plagiarism. Those are kind of our big topics for this week. Things that will hopefully be helpful in all of your classes. So once you've done all of your reading, discussion number 4 for this week, as always, you have my instructions at the top, followed by my video. Don't forget to really elaborate in your responses. A lot of you are getting full points on your discussion. If you're missing like 1 or 2 points, try and give me a little bit more, right? Elaborate, show off that knowledge and understanding. And don't forget the 2-point peer response, as that's a kind of an easy 2 points to get, and you don't want to miss out on that. So make sure you watch my little video, and then you're going to answer these couple of questions that are down here. Number 1, what is APA style, and explain when and why it's used. Number 2, read the following 3 scenarios, and for each one, I want you to tell me, is it plagiarism or not, and make sure you explain, right? Really important to explain. So you have three different little short scenarios that are all about like an assignment in a class or something going on with a class, hopefully kind of relevant. And I want you to tell me, is it plagiarism or not, and to explain why. Don't forget to also reply to a classmate to get that 2 point credit for that. The other thing that you have this week, if you've noticed, you have exam number 1, right? So we have our first test this week. And I know exams cause people an incredible amount of stress and anxiety and pressure. I want to let you know that right off the bat, I want you to do well on the exam. I will set you up for success every time. I will never trick you on a test. And you do have a study guide right here that's going to be your best friend for preparing. So let's look at the study guide first, and then we can talk about the exam. So on the study guide, what I've done is I've put together all of the terms that were from the chapters we've covered so far. So you can see chapter 1, chapter 2, part 1, part 2, and then this week. And so what you'll notice is these are the same terms that are at the end of each chapter. And so you can kind of prepare as we go along if that helps you. But if it's on here, it will be on the exam. If it's not on here, you don't need to worry about it. So what I would do preparing wise is I would go through and make sure that I know and understand and could answer questions about each one of these terms. So totally up to you. I'm one of those students who like over prepares, especially for a first exam when you might not know what to expect. So if it were me, I would probably make a document where I typed all these things out, and then I would have it right next to me during the exam. That way, let's say I get to parsimony and I don't remember what that is. I don't have to flip through the textbook, flip through the lectures, and use up valuable test time. I can just look directly at my study guide and I know that I've defined it because it was on here. So just a little piece of advice or suggestion. Definitely study like you would for an in-person test. You are able to use your notes and your book, but it's nice if you don't have to spend time looking things up. You're going to run out of time quickly if you're having to look everything up. So again, if it were me, I would over prepare and maybe type or write these things out and have it next to me. If you find that you did too much, you can always dial it back for the next exam. But you don't want that moment halfway through the test where you're like, I wish I had studied more and it's too late. So take that for what you will, but that's kind of my biggest piece of advice that I would give to you there. The other thing is when you're ready, you'll click on exam number 1. Okay, and so you'll click on this and it'll take you to the instruction page. So a couple of things to point out. This is due by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m., just like everything else. So just please make sure that you keep that deadline in mind. Remember, if something comes up, you have to reach out to me before the deadline in order to get an extension. So please, please keep that in mind. I feel awful not accepting late work when I hear from you at like 12:04 a.m., but please keep that in mind. The exam is worth 50 points. It has 50 questions and it has 60 minutes to complete it. So you have an hour. You have an hour to complete the exam and you only get one attempt. So be ready and organized before you begin. Now, a couple of suggestions when I say ready and organized, what I mean by that is make sure that you have an hour to spare. Make sure you have 60 minutes. Make sure you have a quiet place. Make sure that you have good internet. And then, of course, that you have studied and prepared and know all the terms on the study guide. All those things are going to set you up for success and hopefully help you to do better. There is a clock, so be really mindful of the clock in the corner once you start the exam. If you run out of time, it will stop you and it'll just record whatever you have done so far. So please just make sure you're mindful of time. If you don't know something, skip it and you can always come back to it later. You can use your notes, you can use your book. Those are totally fine for you to use. Just keep in mind that if you're trying to look up each question and each answer, you're gonna run out of time. It's not a lot of time. It's like a little over a minute per question. And so you have to be, on it. If you're trying to look things up, that's gonna be tough. Now, again, I will never trick you, so the answers and questions should be very straightforward. I did write them all myself. And if you have the study guide and have prepared, you'll be in good shape. So all of those things are going to be really helpful for you. You'll click submit when you're done and you will get a score instantly. It's going to tell you how you did and upload into the gradebook. So at least you don't have to wait. You'll know very quickly how you did. And the exam is always going to be mainly like multiple choice with some true, false, and matching. So no short answer questions, just all true, false, matching, and multiple choice. Okay, so I know that exams cause people anxiety, but I really have given you everything you need to succeed. So as long as you study and prepare and you've been doing your reading and following along, hopefully you'll be in really, really good shape. Most people on average take about 40-ish minutes to take the exam, and the average score is usually right around like high B. So hopefully that helps you going into it. But again, not an awful idea to over prepare for the first exam. I do have some reminders and the extra credit, of course, for you. But are there any questions for me at the moment? And while I'm waiting to see if there are any questions, I'll post my couple of reminders for you. But if you have any questions about the exam or the discussion or anything from this week or last week, I'm more than happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'm going to put in the chat. Don't forget to check your subscription status. Those of you who did the free Twitch subscription, it expires every 30 days. So, like Sophia, for example, see how you no longer have a football cake next to your name. So, same with Angela. So, if you see that you've lost the little football cake, you just have to go back and resubscribe for free. Again, please don't pay for that if you don't have to. The other reminder, if you're looking ahead, our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, February 12th at 1 o'clock p.m. Okay, so I put that here in the chat so that you have it next Wednesday at 1 o'clock, trying to stay with that consistent day and time. Otherwise, let me give you the extra credit question. I did write it out ahead of time, and so I'm going to copy and paste that into the chat here. So this is the week number 4 Twitch extra credit question. What does APA stand for, and which edition are we currently using? Okay, I put it in the chat here. What does APA stand for, and what edition are we currently using? All right, so when you're ready to answer that, you'll go back over to Canvas, and you can click on optional Twitch extra credit number 4 right here. And that'll bring up the spot here where you click start assignment at the top. And then you can type your response. And when you're done, hit submit for your confetti burst and trophies. Great. Trophies and confetti, like very celebratory. So those are the big things for this week. Remember that everything's due by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. And please, again, if something comes up, well, you lose internet, the weather, you have an emergency, something happens, please just make sure you reach out to me before the deadline Sunday night, and I'm happy to work with you. Don't forget to do the discussion and the exam. And remember, you don't have reading in the textbook this week, just the lecture and the lecture video. Okay, so I hope that helps. I hope all of you are enjoying our beautiful, cold, rainy weather now that it's finally February. I'm going to hang out for a little while. If you do have any questions from me, please feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, you're welcome to take off and get going on the stuff for this week. And I will hope to see you all next week. If you're watching this later as a recording, don't forget to make sure that you were subscribed in order to be able to answer that extra credit. Okay? Thank you so much, all of you, for joining me. I'm going to minimize my video so I'm not staring at myself. I went to grab my cat to bring him in and he ran. He's smart. He knew better. But have a wonderful rest of the day. Have a wonderful week. And I will hope to see you all next week for our week number 5 live stream. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, you don't see it there? Huh. I posted it so I can copy and paste it again here. Here you go. I'll put it in the chat one more time just in case. So I put what does APA stand for and which edition are we currently using? Hopefully that one popped up so that you can see it. Yep. Yeah, that's strange. I can see it on my end, but like I said, the internet's been a little finicky today. I think it's because of the rain. Can you see it now, hopefully? Perfect. You said thank you, so I'm assuming that means you can see it fine. Of course, have a wonderful day, everyone, and thank you again for joining me live. Drive safely if you're driving today with the rain. I know the freeway was a little bit of a mess this morning, so take care of yourselves and stay safe. Perfect. I'm glad it's up now. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. And I am still here. If any of you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. Otherwise, good luck with everything, and I will hope to see you next week. And of course, you can always email me if you think of something later.